Hello again and welcome to Arch Eats. I'm George Mahey and across from me is...
Hi, it's Cheryl Bear.
And today we're going to talk about, well, we've got March Madness on the doorstep. So we thought we'd suggest some of our favorite sports bars in town, but also what items would be on our table if we were tasked to host a college basketball watch party or any sports watch party.
They all are the same, let's be honest here.
Maybe a master's party or maybe an opening day party, a derby day party. All these are coming up and we have ideas. All these will work, I think, for those.
But just because party.
And we will end up, as we always do, with a rant. And this one is about menu pricing and a recent development that we are less than enthused about.
This episode of Arch Eats is presented by Explore St. Louis.
But first, as we always do, it's what we can't stop thinking about this week. Let's talk about the Bosque cheesecake at Balmoral.
Oh.
We've touched on that before. Bosque cheesecake, for those that don't know, it's cooked in a super hot oven, and consequently, the top gets kind of caramelized and almost burned, and the inside is almost, it's really not quite cooked. It's kind of like a mousse inside.
Oh, it's lovely.
And it's incredible. In some places, they call it burned Bosque cheesecake, but I don't think that's fair because it's caramelized. It's burned in a sense that blackened fish is burned or burned in the sense that Neapolitan pizzas are burned. I don't think it's fair. Let's just say it's caramelized. It adds some flavor, and it's incredible because it's a little crispy on the outside and the inside's like eating a cloud. It's just so magical. You've had that.
I have. It's lovely, and I've actually had it. It seems to be like a very hot dessert right now. I would say, like, if we were doing something on dessert trends, I would definitely put that on the list. I've had it at Balmoral. I've actually had it right across the street as well at Bistro La Florissant. So
I didn't know they had it.
Yeah, they do, and it's excellent there as well. You're right. It's almost custard like creme brulee or something in the center.
And what I like about it, this is maybe the best part. It was paired with a Madeira that said, you've got to have this Madeira. And I go, Madeira? I cook with Madeira. I make chicken Madeira.
You're right.
Is that a cooking wine? No, this is a 10-year-old Madeira by Henrique and Henrique. I've never had it. It was the best dessert pairing I've had in a long time. This Madeira had the same kind of caramely notes that the cheesecake had. It had some, kind of nut and dried fruit back notes to it. Anyway, I had this a while ago and I'm still thinking about it. The Bosque cheesecake at Balmoral. Don't forget the Madeira.
That sounds great. I'm such a huge dessert wine fan anyway. I'm usually a port drinker, but I will definitely try it with the Madeira.
It's in the port family. It's those oxidized wines that are so,
oh, I love them.
They don't go bad because they're oxidized.
Right?
That's what I like about them.
I'm going to cheat today, and I'm going to have two things I can't stop thinking about that are very different. And the one I will just mention very quickly. I finally got the chance to go out to Root Food and Wine in Augusta, and you have not been there, but you know about it, right?
I know about it. We've written about it. Dave Lowry has been there and raved about it.
He loved it.
He just loved it. It's out in Augusta.
Yep.
The chef there, Philip Day, has been, I believe, was he nominated for, his place was nominated for a James Beard Award.
The place is nominated for a Beard Award this year. So I felt like I had to go check it out, and it's absolutely delightful. Everything is well executed, but the service is just the approach to everything. It's so earnest. There is not some sort of air that they are, putting on or looking down on you as a diner or, anything. It is just this earnest, lovely, warm, inviting place.
Well, and it's rustic. I mean, it's a 100-plus-year-old home.
It looks like
it's
a house. It's not like you would miss it if you were driving by. So highly recommend that. They had this mushroom dish. It was like a mushroom soup, and I can't stop thinking about the flavor. It was just this intense distillation of smoked mushroom.
Oh,
so that was fantastic. But the other place I went to this week, I guess it was a decadent weekend. This is the one that has just blown my mind. Do you know of Sarah's Cake Shop? And this place is actually called Sarah's on Central, which is in downtown Eureka. She makes great cakes and desserts, but she has this darling little restaurant. It's so wonderful. I mean, great breakfast. They do a biscuit sandwich, but she makes the biscuits from scratch and she's a pastry chef, so they're perfect. But let me just tell you, this cinnamon roll is the cinnamon roll to end all cinnamon rolls. I can't get over this thing. First of all, it's massive.
Them's big words, my friend.
Oh, boy. I can't even like describe it to you. It's kind of one of those massive square shaped ones. It almost looks like a ziggurat or whatever. I wouldn't call it a pyramid, but it's kind of like peaked at the top a little bit.
Does it have a lot of white icing on it?
Oh my gosh. And it's not cream cheese. It's that, just very classic white icing, and it soaks into every corner. Because that's always my big problem with it is I feel like you get pockets of like goo and sugar and cinnamon, but it's not distributed throughout. This, you had it generously on every single bite. I love it. I will go eat more of them, and I will
You
probably
can't beat a good cinnamon
yeah.
roll, and you can't beat the smell of a good cinnamon roll.
Exactly.
That's where it starts.
Exactly.
We'll be right back.
Discover the vibrant culinary scene of our city in The Flavor of St. Louis, a 30-minute film produced by Explore St. Louis. Discover the innovative flavors and talented chefs that make St. Louis a must-visit destination for foodies. Culinary masterminds such as Nick Bogner of Sado and Indo, Michael and Tara Galina of Take Root Hospitality, and Simone Four of La Patisserie Souquette will share their stories and passion for food. Don't miss this mouth-watering motion picture. Visit ExploreSt. Louis.com to watch the film and taste the flavors of St. Louis today.
And now back to the show.
So we're going to go from cinnamon rolls to different sports bars in town. We came up with a little list, you and I. And
We did.
we're going to tag team this a little bit. You've got some favorites. I've got some favorites. And let's just say we had to stop somewhere. We could have, this is like a Lenten fish fry thing where there were 130. We got to draw a line somewhere. So we've got, I don't know, we've got a handful that we're going to recommend for various reasons. Some of the ones on my list, I'm recommending because the food's so good. I don't know what your parameters are, but that's where I started. What do you got to start?
Good food is definitely key, but define good food to me. If I'm soaking up a little too
Copious amounts of beer.
a little too much at the bar, then I guess maybe my definition of good food changes.
I get it.
Yeah.
I've been there.
And it was a very difficult one for us to research. Let's just say that. We had to go and go to places like one of my favorites. Should we just go ahead and jump in and get started?
Yeah. I was going to say let's get started because there's just too many, and I'm excited about this. These are great places, and it's TVs and beer and good food. And you go first.
This place is iconic. It's the Village Bar out in Des Peres, an absolute West County institution. It has the character to it. It's the kind of place where you're watching your burger get cooked and your onion rings, which their onion rings are fantastic, and you're watching that all get dropped at the little station behind the bar.
Yeah.
That, to me, the mark of a great
kitchen
bar.
is the extension of the bar.
When the
That's
kitchen's
the
the
quintessential sports
Yes.
bar joint. You've got the
Yes.
flat top right next to the bourbon.
I love it. What more do you want? It's just great. So I love the Village Bar for that reason.
And I've got one at the Village Bar. This is the only place in town that I order mushrooms, fried mushrooms.
Oh, really?
Because they're like the onion rings. They hand bread them
Yes.
to order, and they fry them to order, and it's a whole lot different than any other mushroom
So
you've
they
ever
don't
had.
have that mushy kind
No,
of feel
it's
to
not
them.
like,
Yep.
it's, the ones you get in most other places come from other places. These are really noticeably better. I'm not a fried mushroom guy, except when I go there. Now, I was talking to the manager out there the last time I was there, and I said, I tend to slip into the same crack. I'll have myself a burger, I'll have some mushrooms and a beer. What would you suggest? And his suggestion, he didn't even hesitate. And I don't know if you've had this out there or not. Their pork tenderloin sandwich, which they fry and then they crisp up on that flat top grill.
Oh,
So they
that
start
sounds
there,
wonderful. I have
and
not.
then he adds jack cheese and bacon, and he just gives me that look like, thank me later.
Yes.
So anyway, that's on my list of things to do for the Village Bar.
Yeah, I thought you were going to say their chili, which is also really good there. I
Nope.
mean, but you can't go wrong with chili. So Village Bar is on my list. I love it. I do love the shuffleboard out there. I love, the old, I think we all know my love of the old Clydesdale chandelier at this point. It just has that feel to it.
Well, and
so.
they've got that new room now. It's a whole lot bigger
Yes.
than it used to be. So
Yes.
it's bigger and brighter in that second room.
Yeah. So what's on yours? Do you have one that you're particularly
where do I
excited
start?
about?
Let's see. I think I'm going to start with one of the newer places. It's the Pitch Athletic Club and Tavern downtown.
That's a great spot.
Catty corner to City Park. It's this giant sports bar and soccer bar, and it's it's really hard to describe. It's like a very well maintained Irish pub,
Hmm.
but it's new. But all their wood in there is distressed. It came in distressed, so it looks old.
Looks weathered, like
It
it's
does,
seen
and
some
that's all.
things.
That's all by design. And there's there's green wood, green painted wood, and there's some beautiful tile, white subway tile above. It's got this classic lines and classic look. But the coolest thing about the place is around the perimeter, they've got little seating groups, and the seating groups are leather couches, leather chairs, nice carpet below, and you've got a customer controlled TV for you, just for you. And it's, groupings of 4, 6, and 8.
That
And
sounds fun.
it's just really cool. And it's your own little private party there. There is one area directly behind the hostess stand. They've got this massive walnut back bar. It's the Tony Faust restaurant back bar from back in the day. And it's as ornate and it's beautiful. And right where all the liquor bottles were stored, they've cut it out and they've put TVs in there. Again,
Oh, that
customer
sounds
control TVs. Again, these
wonderful.
are reservable areas. Takes it to a whole different level.
I mean, that sounds like a fancy sports bar.
It-
This
oh,
is
it's
not like
no, it is.
Bud Light
It's
on
not
the
a dive.
carpet.
It's not a dive sports bar. And I think we talked about this the other day. They've got a frozen Irish coffee that's just it's
Yes.
just really good. It's made with soft serve ice cream, and it is. And they're not telling you what's in it, but it's really really good.
That
So
sounds like if we were compiling like the best frozen drinks in town, I think that has to be
oh,
high on that
Oh,
list there.
it's right there. So that's from the LHM guys. Their other sports bar, which is really kind of the opposite end of the spectrum, is out in Westport Social.
Mhm.
I mean, it's this place is really huge. It's like 13 or 15,000 square feet, and they've got every game that you can ever want to play. And I don't know if you've seen it, but
Mhm.
they could have probably put twice as many seats in there, but it's this kind of generously seated place, so everybody's not crammed in there. They do a really good job with food out there. They've got a smash burger that's killer. They do some wings that are brined, smoked, and then flash fried. Those are my 3 favorite things to do to wings.
Wow.
And it's just a superlative experience. Kyle Mathis did all the cocktails out there before he joined up with Tim Wiggins and did the bangers only. These guys are like the two cool cocktail dudes in town.
Yeah, you're
Well,
going to get a good drink
Yeah,
out
you're
there.
going to get a good drink in there. That's what it means. So anyway, that's Westport Social. Staying out in West County, the Corner Pub and Grill, there's several of those out there. One reason I like that place is it appeals to families, and there's a gluten-free menu on there, and not just a couple gluten-free items. They've got the biggest, I think, gluten-free menu in town there.
Huh.
The owner's daughter is has celiac disease, and thought it was important to do that part of it right. And that menu is called Hannah's at Corner Pub after
Aw,
Hannah.
well, that's
So-
sweet.
So that's very sweet. But what I like about this place is they've been doing this a while, and I was talking to the owner, and he said, "Oh, you're doing something on March Madness. Let me give you some March Madness etiquette."
Oh,
how about
there's
that?
etiquette for March Madness.
Well, I didn't know there was until I
Okay.
talked to him. So
All right, I'm
he
curious.
says, cheer on your team, go crazy. We want you to get there early and have a good time. The first weekend is the craziest, which I didn't realize. All those games were going on. There's how many games the first night? They're everywhere. And he said, what happens is everybody wants to watch their game. And they
Wow.
have to kind of, be the traffic cop here. So here's the rules. If you want to watch the game you want to watch, get there early, because the first guy gets to control the remote.
Huh.
So don't come
That's
in
a
the
pro
middle.
tip.
Yeah. Don't come in the middle of a game and say, I'd like to watch this, because somebody has already come in and said they want to watch that.
Well,
I mean, it's only fair.
that might be a rant for a later episode, but the TV changing in the middle of games, that's a pet peeve.
Yeah, I just think it just makes sense. So again, at Corner Pub, the sleeper dish, mahi tacos, really good.
Really?
Again, you'd think, let's have a burger, let's have some fries, let's have some nachos.
Huh.
No, go with the mahi tacos. So there you go. Another similar place like that out in West County is Three Kings Pub. There's several of those around. The one in the Loop is getting rebuilt, and that's going to be opening, I think, in a couple months. What I like about that is kind of the same thing. It's upper level. It's gastropub fare.
Yeah.
It's just a step above. They do everything in-house homemade, which I appreciate. A lot of bar and grills don't. They don't have to. So these guys have taken it up a level. And the hot item there, the sleeper item there's a muffaletta. Would you ever order a muffaletta at a sports bar? No,
Probably
but you
not.
should at Three Kings Pub.
Oh, wow. That sounds great. Well, I'm going to go a little bit further west as well, but this time I'm going to go west of the Missouri River. There is a little place out in the Cottleville area called JP's Hideout. I guess I shouldn't call it a little place. It's not little.
Sounds like
It's
it.
not divey at all. In fact, the name does make it seem like maybe it's some like little dark dive bar, and it's not. Kind of like what you were saying. It has this gastropub type fare. They have everything from these really great Sicilian meatballs as an appetizer. They do a fantastic Monte Cristo sandwich. Their burger's great. They do smoked meats. They usually do a brisket, and I feel like they've done ribs and stuff in the past. It kind of just depends on the day out there. But I just love it. They have plenty of TVs, that dark wood bar, just a festive atmosphere. They have a cute little outdoor covered patio with a television. You were talking about Corner Pub. I also like that about them, where when you can sit on the patio, but you still have TVs. I love that.
That's
great.
so important. On a nice day, there's nothing better. Right. The Corner
Yes.
Pub has that, and JP's does too.
They do, exactly. So that is definitely, if you're in the St. Charles area, that is my pick for places out there for sure. You were talking about Westport Social and the Pitch. The other place on my list is the Armory. I mean, the Armory is just this sprawling
It's the
sports
biggest
entertainment
It is
complex.
the biggest sports bar in town.
Yes.
I want to say it's 250,000 square feet, which is head and shoulders above anything
Yeah.
else. That's just staggeringly huge.
Yeah, they have 6 bars. They have good food. They have those massive TVs.
Do you know who has the biggest TV in town? The Armory.
Get out. I was going to say maybe the district, but you're right. I think the Armory is bigger.
That's what I've been told.
Wow.
The biggest in town, and the second biggest is at Ballpark Village, which is on my list. It can hardly not be.
I mean, you have to put that on your list.
You
Like
know,
these major complexes like that.
Yeah, I mean, it's a complex.
Yes.
It's like a bullpen in there with everybody watching. But what's interesting is that TV, they have increased the size of the TV. So there are so many screens in a row now that I'm told you can watch every March Madness game, every one that's played at the same time. They, the first weekend,
Wow.
they're playing them all at the same time. Well, you can watch them all at the same time at Ballpark Village.
Wow.
And-
That sounds
and-
like a
and-
good time.
Everybody goes there. They think about, we'll go there before and after the Cardinal game, but they also televise the UFC fights for free,
Oh, get
which I didn't
out.
know that. A lot of bars will charge you for that.
Yep.
I'm not a big fight fan, but I thought there's a lot of people that are. So that's kind of interesting. The Blues, Battlehawks, and City games, there are free shuttles. That's another thing that a lot of people don't know about. Park there. You can usually park there for free if you have a beer and get
Yeah.
get validated. Have a beer, have a burger, do whatever you want to do. And then you can take a free shuttle to any of these things.
The shuttles are huge.
Because parkings can be, as you know, a pain
Yes.
downtown and very
Yes.
expensive. So don't forget about that if you're at Ballpark Village. And then there's Sports and Social, which is part of Ballpark Village, but it's kind of a respite. It's not as wild and crazy. It's not
Yes.
this kind of scrum, which is fun.
Yeah.
But if you want something a little quieter, a little more sedate, Sports and Social is the place for you. It's in that same complex.
Yes.
And overlooked by a lot of people because they're just not in that zone.
Exactly. No, that's a definite place to put on the list to watch games for sure. I'm going to head the opposite side of the stadium here. I'm going to go to Soulard because have you been to Duke's Sports Bar yet?
I have not been to Duke's
Oh,
Sports Bar.
You talk about a
Sorry, Dukes.
raucous good time. Duke's is just the place to go. It's kind of, if you could combine the embodiment of a sports bar with this perfect caricature of a Soulard bar. So it's a sports bar, but it's got great Cajun food.
Yeah,
And
there you go.
they have dance parties and they have, 30 plus TVs. They have 3 bars. They have 2 levels. They have a patio. It is this festive atmosphere. You're going to have a good time there. And they do, like I said, their Cajun food is really good. They do this, their house specialty is called the voodoo soup. It's, oh my gosh, just think this like glorious,
chowder?
spicy Cajun cauldron. I would say, I
I like spicy Cajun
gumbo,
cauldron. I
yeah.
think they should call it
I
that.
think that's what we should call it. Maybe closer to Halloween or what have you. but they apparently either they run out or I don't know if they offer it all the time, but it goes pretty quickly. So put that on your list. That's the place to be in Soulard.
There's a
For sure.
place that I know is kind of on both our lists because it should be, and it's Lester's out in Ladue.
Yes.
There are tons and tons of TVs. No matter where you are in that restaurant, you see, they position those TVs very, very well. Again, that's a sports bar where the food is very good. You've got a few favorites there.
Well, the TVs are great. The bar is great. That corned beef there, their Reuben, I love it. I love their Reuben so much. It is piled so high.
Do you get the big one?
Oh, I do.
Oh
I
my.
do. I don't eat the whole thing, but I just like the spectacle of ordering the big one.
Yeah.
So you have to do it. I would argue that probably the biggest sporting event going on at Lester's is watching people try and tackle,
negotiate that
try and
sandwich.
negotiate the sandwich. It's like an Olympic feat if you can take down the whole thing without injuring yourself. They have great matzo ball soup there. Have you ever had their matzo ball soup?
I've not had that, but
Oh.
I've had the chicken noodle, and that is really good.
Their soups in general are soothe your soul soups.
Somebody's Jewish grandmother is making that soup
Absolutely.
as we speak.
Absolutely. What do you love?
Well,
there?
there's a sandwich they have that, again, everybody's eating burgers and fries and things, but there's a rye club. You don't see clubs put on rye bread very often. 3 kinds of meat, 2 kinds of cheese, and it's on grilled rye with ranch dressing. And it's not a triple decker. It's just a nice compact sandwich. But it's the only place that I know that has a club sandwich on rye bread, and it's darn good.
Oh, that does sound, especially with the ranch, because I'm sure they make their homemade ranch. I bet it's really delicious.
It's delicious.
Yeah. One place that, and you and I have kind of gone back and forth about this, what constitutes a sports bar? I would argue that Sportsman's Park, whereas not a sports bar in the sense where you're going to be inundated with massive screens, you might have to crane your neck to actually get a view of the television, but there's just something about the feel of this as a neighborhood gathering spot that you just, when there's something going on, you want to gather with your friends. I love it. It's an institution. And the reason I put it on the list is there is a legend that they are the first place to ever offer buffalo chicken wings in St. Louis.
I heard that. That's right after I wrote that Culpeppers was the first place.
Yeah.
And then they said, I don't think so. It might have happened out there in Ladue. And I don't know if Jackie Smith owned it at the time.
It was called Jackie's Place at the time.
At the legendary Cardinal Jackie Smith owned it. So, that's something you can discuss while you're out there. But don't expect 95-inch screens because you won't see them there. But it's the food's good. It's a legendary mid-county watering hole.
Yeah, I guess we'll call it mid-county.
So there's a couple more, I think, that we shouldn't forget about. They're almost so obvious that they should have been at the top of the list. O.B. Clark's in Brentwood.
Sure.
That place is busy all the time and justifiably so. Again, you talk about what constitutes a sports bar. To me, there's a lot of things. It's service, it's a good beer, it's cold beer. And at places like O.B. Clark's, the food is really good, and they'll turn the volume up, right? That's very important to some people to hear the game. And some people say it's not a sports bar unless they've got the volume turned up. So I think that's important there. The other one, again, so obvious that we dare not forget it, is the Post. The Post Bar and Grill. And that place, there's 3 of them, I think. And again, they've been there for, I think 15 years doing a really good job. I love the fact that they've got a progressive happy hour. Did you know about this?
No, tell me about a progressive happy hour. What is this?
Great? So from 2 to 6, they discount beers. So from 2 to 3, I think they're $1.50. And then they ratchet up, and from 5 to 6, I think they're $3.
It's like surge pricing. Didn't Wendy's just get in trouble for that? So,
but you can do that at the Post. If you want to have beers in the afternoon, they're really cheap between 2 and 3.
Oh wow, that's good intel.
So that is good intel. The sleeper item there is the French onion cheesesteak sandwich.
Oh,
their cheesesteaks are great, and this one has ribeye, and it's got American cheese, and it has brie. It has balsamic onion jam and horseradish sauce.
Wait a second. There's brie on a cheesesteak.
Yeah. I know, I know. It's a sin, but it's a good sin.
Okay,
Yes,
okay.
yes, we will forgive them for their sins.
I love
So
it.
so that's at the Post. That's a dish that's not super popular, but should be. So the Post, O.B. Clark's. You know where we should mention is Top Golf downtown. A lot of people haven't been there yet,
Mhm,
but they've got a two-story bar, and you sit up on the top level and kind
mhm.
of look down to the TVs. The other place I like is the Field House. For a lot of Billikens fans, it's their, it's their home bar. But
Yeah.
it's also a venue to consider when you're attending an event at Grand Center because there aren't a lot of places down there to eat. And you can go there before or after and get some pretty decent bar food at the Field House.
Yeah, I had a great beer cheese soup there one time. I was down for that Music at the Intersection festival, and you're right. You're kind of searching a lot of times in Midtown or that part of like Grand Center, I would say, for places, and they were fantastic. I really enjoyed that. One place that we have to mention that is out in my neck of the woods, and you just went there recently, is Mulligan's Grill out in, is that Ellisville at
I
that
believe
place?
that's
I
Ellisville.
think it's Ellisville. That is just this gathering
It's a
spot.
massive gathering
Oh
place.
my
I couldn't
goodness.
believe apparently it's busy all the time, and when we were there, they said, "Oh, you just missed the hour-long wait," which
Yeah,
was
right?
great, and this was during the week. It was insane how many people were there. Massive, huge glasses of wine. I've never seen such it's a two-handed, when you pick up the glass, it's like a two-hander. I've never seen that.
Yeah, that's probably why there's so many people
Yeah,
going
yeah,
there. You
and
said
there
it's
was
very
yes,
generous.
there's a lot of beers getting consumed and a lot of wine, and, the wines we had were decent, so I was immediately impressed with that. But what was most interesting is their chicken wings, and they do this on purpose, and it's somewhat controversial. They're smaller wings than most,
Mhm.
and they some people love them, and some people say, "I don't think so." They serve them 9 count, 18, and 27 count. I got a 9 count,
Mhm.
and they were small, and if I had it to do it again, I would have gotten 18 because
Mhm.
they were that good and that
Oh,
small,
wow.
and one of the comments I read was they are hilariously small, and so I ordered some hilariously small wings when I got there, and they were really good. I
Yeah.
didn't think I'd like them, but they were quite tasty. There's less meat on a small wing, so you've got a higher percentage of sauce, which was just fine with
Nice.
me. And, I like the little flatties. That's kind of what I like, and they were just kind of, dainty, and they were just really
Yeah.
I guess I haven't had a small wing in a while. I was gonna poo-poo it till I had it.
Yeah.
And, even the drummies were I'm not a drummy person, but these drummies you're a drummy person.
I'm not. I think you and I share this, that we are both flats. Like, we prefer the flats. And the reason why I typically go for the flat over the drummy is, you kind of like crack it open and you get that really succulent piece of meat right in there.
Yep.
But the problem with the drummies is, especially when you get them on these larger ones, is it looks like it's going to be a lot of meat, but it's actually very chewy. You don't get a lot of meat. And you're saying it was not the case.
No, these smaller drummies is the
Mhm.
way that people like me wanna eat drummies. They were really good.
Yes.
They were cooked through, and it was all meat and no cartilage or any of this other
Yeah,
stuff.
there's always so much
And
cartilage on
again,
them.
the sauce to meat ratio was delicious. Anyway, I get the small wings thing, and I didn't think I was gonna be that guy. "Oh, no, bigger the better. Give me those big wings."
Yes.
No, the small ones are good. Just get twice as
Just
many.
get more.
Just get twice as many
Exactly.
as you think. That's Mulligan's Grill out in Ellisville. Nice job, and thank you for that wine pour.
Well, that's great. Well, you and I spent a lot of time talking about where we would go if we were going to be out and about. But I think we've talked about this in the past, that we both love to just spend time in our own homes, and we like to entertain, or maybe we just don't even feel like going anywhere. There's always a fun way to bring a festive atmosphere into your own house if you're watching the game.
Let's face it, a lot of people don't like sports bars. There's
Yeah,
just too rowdy, too crazy, too
sure.
insane. I get it. So we entertain at home. You've got a few ideas.
Yes. Well,
You're an entertainer.
that's what we thought. It would be fun to, kind of put together a little peek into like what our dream table would be like if we were putting out like our spread of the things that we wanted to for watching the game.
I can't wait. What's on your table?
Oh gosh. Well, I am going to start with Bauman's Wings. Have you been to Bauman's? out in Brentwood.
Not only have I been to Bauman's, I brought Bauman's wings to a Super Bowl party. And you know what? They were the first things gone.
Of
And
course they
everybody
were.
said, "What is that wing?" And I should have brought more, but I didn't.
These smoked wings are legendary. Bauman's with their wings is one of those if you know places. They are just so tender. And you said there's a secret.
That's what I found out. It's the seasoning that they put on. It's
Huh.
a dry rub. It's their chicken and pork rub, which they sell in tubs.
Okay.
And I have tubs of it in my pantry right now. It's really, really good, and that's what makes it better. There's a lot of brown sugar in there and some
Yeah.
other spices. Anyway, it is and it's a little bit darker than most
Mhm.
because of the sugar in there.
Yes.
But oh my gosh, it is a great wing. They have them all the time. Bauman's got a couple new young owners out there in Brentwood. Yeah, I'm with you on the Bauman's wings. So far, so
Yes.
good.
They're an institution for sure. I know another one you're going to be with me. We've talked about them before is the smoked shrimp from Annie Gunn's. I will take any reason to have smoked shrimp on my table. They're just such a gem. We are huge fans of that.
Because they're huge shrimp too.
yes,
They're the
they
biggest
are.
shrimp in town that you can find that are smoked. I've tried to do it at home. I can't do it. You
Yes.
just buy them from Annie's
You
and
just
be
get 'em
done
from
with
there.
it.
Exactly. You know you're guaranteed a good thing. The other thing that's on my list is the like a party size, like one of those gigantic several foot long sandwiches from Mom's Deli. I'm getting the Mom Special, which is basically their club sandwich. It's turkey, roast beef, and ham. The key though is you have to get extra sauce. Their Thousand Island sauce, it's homemade. It's the best Thousand Island out there, and it's so wonderful, and I always get so much of this dressing on there that it's embarrassing, but, whatever.
That's a good call because there are other big sandwiches in town, other
Oh,
places
yes.
that sell them. I didn't know about Mom's.
It's the dressing. That's what's key on it.
Thanks, Mom.
Yes, exactly. Um, also on there, Nikki Slices Pizza. It's one of those, he's on Instagram. You order from there. It's kind of a take and bake pizza. He always has these fantastic, he'll do anything from a really fiery pepperoni and sausage to right now, I think he's doing kind of a barbecue inflected one. You have to order these in advance, and it's kind of like he calls it a pizza club.
Yeah, it's a boutique pizza
Yes.
club, I'd call
So
it.
you have to follow him on Instagram. You have to, kind of go that route there. He releases new specials once a week. That's a fun spot. But if you don't want to actually put that much legwork and you want to get a good, just kind of frozen pizza you can grab at the store, I love, as far as local goes, I love Katie's black garlic pizza.
I've had it. It's delicious.
Oh my gosh, that black garlic is like candy on there. So good.
Big black splotches, and you go, "What?" It's like, I'm not sure about that. And then you
Yes.
take a slice and you said, "I'll have
And
another
you
one,
think,
please."
this is just fantastic. So those are definitely on my list. I'm going to get a pan of Salt and Smokes mac and cheese, because why not? Why do it just for a sporting event? Maybe I've had a bad day. I'm going to get a
I
pan
see.
of
You
that
don't
mac
get a
and
quart, you get a
cheese.
pan.
You get a pan
That's
of
a
it.
serious addiction.
And speaking of, you're also going to get a gallon of frozen margaritas from Taco Buddha. Why 1, 2, it comes in a milk jug.
I love it.
It's so great. So we're going to get that.
And those are hefty margaritas. So
Oh,
those
they
are
are.
margaritas like you'd make at home, but no, they make them for you.
Oh, they make them for you, and it's fantastic. If it's Sunday, if the games happen to be on Sunday, I am getting the beef ribs from Stellar Hog. Those to me are probably the last thing I want to taste before I meet my maker. They are my favorite food in town, probably. But I will be happy with their brisket if it's not a Sunday. And I'll be happy with Beast's brisket as well. I always love I'm a huge brisket fan. Salt and Smoke, Beast, Stellar Hog. Those are my.
But those beef ribs, they're like
They're-
Fred Flintstone size
They are
ribs.
so good. And you have to know how to cook a beef rib, if you're going to do them right. And I'm telling you, you could butter a biscuit with these beef ribs. They're just extraordinary. I've got a couple more things on there. I've got 2 more.
Yeah, your table is filling up
It
here.
is filling up. We're very indulgent. I've got Crab Rangoon from Some Tea House. This is a little boba tea shop in University City, but they make the best Crab Rangoon.
What makes them different?
I don't
Never
know.
had them.
Well,
Do they put crab in them?
I
Some
don't think
people don't.
they don't put crab in there. It's just basically sweet cream cheese wrapped up. But I don't know, there's something about they just get this ratio of like sweetness and savory just right. So I love those. And then last on my list, I love Legrand's for their brats. I know there are a lot of great brat places in town, but Legrand's classic brats are my go-to.
Yeah, I've never had them from there.
Oh, they're wonderful. Maybe a little on the sweeter side. I'm not typically a brat person, but Legrand's is where I'll go for them.
You got me thinking about wings when you started talking about Bauman's.
Yes.
And the other one that I like, and I'm not a big breaded wing guy,
Okay.
but the ones at Three Kings Pub have
Yeah.
won many, many wing ding
Oh, they're
awards.
great.
And if you're going to get a breaded wing, that's the one you want to get.
Yes.
And recently they started with a marinated smoked rib. And the marinade is called panca. And panca is a Peruvian smoky, fruity pepper.
Oh, that sounds
So it's
wonderful.
a sweet pepper
Ah,
that they marinate it in. So they do their smoking thing, and then they serve it with a sweet chili habanero sauce. So you get this little kick at the end. So
wow.
it's got a lot of different pepper to it, and they're really good too.
That
That's, I
sounds
think, a
great.
relatively new item out at Three Kings Pub. I just put together a couple of like, here's my favorite things.
Yes.
So
And some you make yourself, right? Most of you make yourself.
no, some I do, but some I don't.
Okay.
One of my favorite things that I think this was on your list too is the little pretzel bites from Pretzel Boys.
Yes, I love those.
And the pretzel bites are good, but the little pups, the little smokies that they wrap in pretzels, it's just like the best thing ever.
yes.
You bring those to a party, those are the first thing to go. The best fish dip in town, I think, for me, is the white fish dip from the Annex
That's
/
wonderful.
Frisco.
Yes.
It's just really good. The smoked trout spread from Stars is really good too. I love those smoked fish spreads.
yeah, I'm with you on
Um,
that.
Best cheese dip, there is a brie gorgonzola tort that Straub's makes. Have you ever had that?
No, but that sounds
It's
fantastic.
unbelievable. A really good, that's always one of the first things to go.
Pick up their chicken salad while you're
Yeah,
there
exactly. Pick up a quart of chicken salad, and
Right.
they've got plenty of it there. You don't even have to ask.
Yes.
It's ready for the taking. The best uncooked dip, this is one I do make. It's called the Neiman Marcus's $1 Million Dip. Have you ever had this?
Ooh, I have not.
Shredded cheddar, almonds, green onion, and bacon. And it's just like the perfect dip ingredients.
Ah.
And you'll just sit there with crackers and just go at it.
I mean, dip to me, it gets no better than that.
So
great.
those are the ones that I kind of will buy. But
Uh-huh.
I was thinking about this, and it's so easy to make some things too.
Mm-hmm.
I would make buffalo chicken meatballs, using ground chicken,
Ooh.
doing it buffalo style, and then you dunk those in
Mhm.
blue cheese or
Mhm.
ranch. You can do buffalo chicken in crescent rolls, rolling a little bit of that into a crescent roll, and it's just delicious.
Maybe like a buffalo chicken crab rangoon, like
that's-
buffalo chicken
yes.
dip in a crab rangoon.
Yeah, we're thinking the same thing. You just get a
Yes.
wonton wrapper, and you can put anything in there you want. Remember we talked about Steve Gontram's shrimp burger
I do.
during our Lenten piece, and that got me to thinking about shrimp meatballs. You could do the same thing and make little
Yes.
meatballs out of shrimp. And the reason I'm thinking about that is they are on the menu at this place called Rouge Bistro, which just opened. And it's their surprisingly big seller, shrimp meatballs. It's like, okay, it's a meatball house, meatballs and beef, veal, and all these other
Sure.
kinds. But this is a shrimp meatball.
Wow.
Anyway, so that's something you can easily make at home. One of my favorite items, though, in a home setting is tempura cauliflower bites. But the
Mm.
thing about tempura batter, and I didn't realize this, it's equal parts flour, cornstarch, water, and vodka. That's it. And that's all you need. And if you use that recipe, it's almost see-through batter, and it is just delicious.
Huh.
4 ingredients. People complicate it. They put different club soda, different things like that. I'm telling you, all you need is some cauliflower, and you do it that way. Or you can do it if you really want to fancy it up. Do it with lobster. Do some lobster bites, and people think you've won the lottery, but it's a good deal. It's a good way to go. And this other item that I've had, and you always wonder these sauces. There's sandwiches, and
Yes.
they've got turkeys and they've got mayonnaise. There's one that my friend calls barbonnaise, And I just thought it was an odd name.
Sounds awfully fancy.
It's not, though. It's mayo and barbecue sauce and red wine vinegar and garlic. And all those things together, I'm telling you, it's like a magic sauce, and it goes on any kind of sandwich you want. And he named it Barbonnaise. I will give my friend credit for that, but it's really good. So, and again, just like the tempura recipe, these are really simple things to make, and you really hit a home run every time you do it.
What does he put that on? Like, what kind of sandwich? Would you just pretty much put it on anything?
Any kind
okay.
any kind of sandwich.
Wow, that sounds wonderful.
Yeah. So, we've gotten fancy and we've gotten basic.
Yes.
But I think something, and you might just laugh at me for this, but something that I love to see at any of these parties is puppy chow. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do.
Chocolate chips, peanut butter, powdered sugar, and Chex Mix. And it's just delicious.
So good.
And it's so silly and so tasty. And again, we're talking basketball. Why not make some sugar cookies or some shortbread cookies, get some orange icing, and make some basketball cookies.
Yeah.
That's my final suggestion. Very simple. Happy basketball season.
Or have Colleen at Colleen's Cookies do it for you if you're, maybe not artistically
That's even
inclined.
easier still. We'll be right back.
This episode is supported by the Repertory Theater of St. Louis. Brace yourself for a gripping family drama where love, betrayal, and dark humor collide in Pulitzer Prize winner August Osage County. Join an incredible cast featuring performers such as Henny Russell from Netflix Orange is the New Black, Sean Weiberg of HBO's Search Party, and beloved American and local actor Joneel Joplin as he takes the stage for his 102nd rep production. Witness the Weston family's roller coaster of emotions, running March 19th through April 7th at the Rep. Get tickets now at repstl.org.
And now, back to the show.
So we talked about homemade goodies. We talked about things in restaurants. And let's face it, things in restaurants, we've talked about this before, it's gotten very pricey. And that brings us to today's micro rant. And it involves online menu prices.
Yes.
And I love to see online menus. I always get upset when people don't put their menus online, but what upsets me even more is when they put the menus online and don't put the prices. Has that bothered you at all? Have you noticed that? That used to be only the super expensive places used to do that. It's like, boy, if they don't put the prices on there, then I know I can't afford this place. But nowadays, I think restaurant owners, they're getting a little gun shy. They know people are very price sensitive, and they have stopped putting their prices online. And I think that's a problem.
Yeah, I've noticed that recently as well. In fact, what I find myself doing is I'll initially go to the restaurant's website, and if they don't have it on there, then I'll just go on to Yelp or somewhere where someone's taken a menu picture so I can actually see what the physical menu looks like. You and I are definitely not begrudging restaurants from having to
they need
charge what they charge.
They need to make a buck.
It's expensive, and they have absorbed so many costs over the last couple of years. They've absorbed everything from, higher health insurance costs for their employees to higher wages. They've absorbed, just dramatically increased prices for their product. And so there's so much that's going into this that honestly, it probably should cost $30 for a hamburger, but it doesn't. It costs $15.
And certainly restaurants deserve to make a buck, but I think the consumer deserves to know how much he's getting into before he walks in the door. You and I have had that experience wow, I knew I was going out to dinner, but I didn't know it was going to cost this much money. And again, if you put your menu prices online, we all have a better shot at that. It's just give it to us up front, please, and spare us that in-person sticker shock.
We know it's not going to be cheap to go out to eat, but we just need to know what we're getting into.
Just let us know it. And with that little plea for restaurants to be up front with us all, that's all for this week on Archie Eats. Be sure to follow us and share with your friends. And we always provide links in the show notes for everything you heard about today. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button and follow along on Instagram at St. Louis Mag. And feel free to give us a follow personally at George Mahey and Cheryl A. Bear.
If you loved what you heard, show us some love by rating and reviewing us on Apple Podcasts. And if you're hungry for even more content, you can subscribe to our dining newsletters for the freshest coverage on the local restaurant and culinary scene.
That's it for this week. Best dishes, and see you next time.